It's Wednesday, August 15th, 2018, and it's time to get working on music. It's been a great day. I'm in a really good place and excited for a productive session as usual. Honestly, got a lot on my mind. There's a lot of things changing outside of the musical spectrum right now that is putting some, inviting me to make some really interesting decisions about how much I want to commit to other things besides music, and it's sort of, in some ways, testing my resolve about my plan to earn from music over the next few months, and kind of begging me to, put my butt on the line a little bit. And it's an interesting challenge. I have to admit, I'm excited by it. I'm certainly, understandably cautious and maybe a little bit afraid. But I think my fear is unfounded. I think it's time for me to just go all in and really make this happen and really, see where the limit really is. So it should be an interesting next few weeks. I'll keep you guys updated. Right now, I'm going to jump into the online class front. I've got a full day of music today, so about 8 hours in the session. Going to jump to the online class front, going to get the Armin van Buuren class and the hardcore tracking class. Going to get a quick drum practice in. I think I'm behind on drums. Might be guitar, I'll check. And then going to actually spend some time remastering the Full Circle stuff. I listened a little bit yesterday and realized that it sounds and feels really good, but Into Infinity just sounds really good on its own, and I think it sounds a little better than the other tracks. So I'm really curious if I put a little more time into the other tracks, if I can get them sounding that clean and that tight, the way Into Infinity does. And I've tried a bunch of different things. I think I've got them all sounding the best they've ever sounded and the best they've ever felt, but I'm wondering if there is that next level to it. And so I'm going to spend some time today totally undoing what I did before and just starting from scratch with those, and seeing if I can make them any better than they currently are, which is definitely a risky project, but I feel that I have this set of masters done right now, so there's relatively little risk as far as, the only thing I'm giving up is time to work on something else. So I've got a bigger day today, so I figure let me capitalize on it and see if I can take that to the next level. Then I'm going to get some work done on the new Aeons record, and then I'm going to dive super deep into the Savvy Musician Academy stuff and spend a boatload of time on that today, getting the business stuff to the next level. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions as we go through the session, and I'll update you at the end with what I accomplish. Let's do it. First half of the day, jumped to the online class front, hit the Armin van Buuren class, and just got some tips on how they arrange percussion. And what they do is they really just brainstorm a bunch of ideas in Ableton, and then play around with them a little bit, export them into Logic, and then EQ and move them around, use an LFO tool to give it like a pumping feel, and they just play around until they get something that they like, which I think is really cool. From there, got into the hardcore tracking class. It was just more about tracking bass, and my main revelation there was just how much comping they do. And if you don't know what comping is, it's taking one piece of one take and putting it together with another piece of another take. And when you look at their session, it's just like a bunch of comped drum hits, like everything's snapped to the grid there, and quantized in like perfect time. And then you have the bass and the guitars, which are all these just tiny little segments of punch-ins, single note punch-ins sometimes, and just like working on it on a note-by-note basis to make everything perfect, which I think is really interesting. It's really, really interesting to see it, and it kind of makes me wonder like what kind of results I could get with an approach like that, and how much easier my tracking would be, and just relying on the computer to do a lot of the work for me. I'm, again, just really not sure where I'm at with that. It hasn't been my approach on this most recent project, and certainly not on the Full Circle project. And so I guess I'm just evolving, and getting more information about different options that I have for creating music that people vibe with. And I guess, there's no limit to our artistry. It's like maybe the medium doesn't really matter that much. Maybe it's just about getting the emotion across, but I'm going to think long and hard. I think I'm going to just experiment a little bit before I go too far down the rabbit hole of just using the computer to do almost everything for me. But that is in some ways the reality of a lot of modern music production, which is worth knowing as much as possible about, in my opinion. Even if you're going to reject that and go against the grain, I think it's good to know. So from there, just got into working on quick guitar practice, and I was a little behind, so cut that short, and then jumped into working on the Midas and Myth Master for, 2.5 hours, something like that. It was pretty intense. Going all the way back to ground zero and starting from scratch, trying to get the low end a little tighter was my main goal, because the low end has been a little boomy and sort of hanging out the bottom on all the other tracks besides Into Infinity, and I really like the sound of Into Infinity, so I thought, let me see how it goes if I can just clean up the bottom end and make a little more space in the sonic spectrum for other stuff, and just try to make the kick come out a little bit more on the top end and be a little more punchy, and less boomy in the bottom end, and same with the bass lines, try to make them a little smoother, a little cleaner, a little tighter, and it was a lot of work, man, but I think I got the low end in a good place, or at least something I like. I don't know if it's better or not. I'll wait to A/B those until I'm done with this round of masters, but I think I can get the first drafts all done today, or close. My ears were starting to get a little cooked at the end when I was working on some of the high end of the track. It's kind of I could just tell I didn't know what was going on anymore. And the high end spectrum of our hearing is the thing that's most susceptible to fatigue over time, so it's something to keep in mind. And making progress. Brought out the vocals a little more. I think overall the track has a good vibe and a good feel. I got the snare to come out a little bit more, and started A/Bing with the Into Infinity track to get a little closer to that sound and that quality, so that there's a little more consistency from track to track across the record. So far so good. In a good place with that. I'll come back and listen after my break a little bit, and then work on Strictly Academic and Fiction of the Dig Pimp, and just try to get some working masters of those, and then move forward if I have time. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. See you in a few. Yeah, great second half of the session. It's been a while since I had an 8-hour day in the zone, and I really stuck to my guns and put a solid 8 hours in today, which was awesome. And I feel great. Honestly, I think I just got a lot better at doing that type of thing a few months ago, and I was pushing myself so hard on the tracking front that I was just exhausted at the end of every single day. I pushed it so hard, guys. And now that I'm taking this hardcore tracking class, it's like, oh crap, maybe I shouldn't have done that, Maybe I should have kept it easy on myself, but what's done is done. Anyway, today I just did a lot of computer work, which is just much easier for me to do in long stretches because it's just a lot less physical. But in the second half of the session, I re-listened to the Midas and Mythmaster I did earlier. It sounded really good. It's different, it's different than what I had before. It's maybe a little cleaner, a little more traditional sounding, or maybe even a little more modern sounding than the old one I did. Had just a lot more risks taken, especially with the low end, and that's what was kind of worrying me about it. So yeah, I think I accomplished my objective there, and then I got into the Strictly Academic Master, did kind of the same thing, wound up with a really clean, tight master, a little tighter in the lows, a little tighter in the highs, and then same thing with Fiction of the Dig Pimp, which again just needed a lot less work. I think that song was just better recorded, better mixed, we just had more experience, and it's amazing how much easier that makes things on the post-production front. But yeah, overall just wanted everything to match the Into Infinity sound a little more. I think the other masters are a little bright now versus the Into Infinity one, but the kick drum sounds a little more consistent and the low end sounds a little bit more consistent. So I'm going to let it rest for a day or two. I'll come back and A-B the ones that I had previously and these ones and just see, do I want to go for something that's a little more sonically consistent, or do I want to go for the one that has the most feel? And, how am I going to feel about it tomorrow? It's hard to know. There might be a couple small edits to make. Like by the end, the very, very super highs in Fiction of the Dig Pimp, it was really hard to get a good objective perspective on that. But, yeah, that was fantastic, and then I took a short break and then dove into the Savvy Musician Academy stuff, just more about micro niche, and that's the real key there is to make sure that you can describe your music in terms of adjectives that actually do describe it, but also that you can describe your music to yourself in terms of a market. And what that means is people are actually searching for that stuff online. There's actually communities built around that who are already excited about that type of music, if that makes sense. Otherwise, if you can become the influencer and build up a genre from scratch, then do it. And that's definitely something I've considered over the past few months. But for right now, I think I do fit enough into progressive rock, and there's enough stuff in progressive rock that is close to what I'm doing, sonically and vibe-wise and instrumentation-wise, that I can probably connect with some people there. We'll see. That's where I'm going to start, and if that ends up failing, I'll try other things. But for now, that seems to be the place with the most engagement, that's not too big, but also not too small, and the most search terms of people looking for new stuff in the genre, which is perfect. So that's where I'm at today. I just started doing a little bit of editing, playing around with some ideas for the Full Circle album cover, just in terms of like images and vibe that I want for this record and for the album cover, and I'll probably end up picking up Photoshop and just trying to do it the right way, rather than just what I was doing now, which is like this, just whatever comes PDF editing with your basic Macintosh. I mean, it certainly does the trick, and it has some cool tricks, but I want something that's really done, perfectly, if that makes sense, or as close as possible. And yeah, it's really exciting. Got some good ideas. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. And I will see you guys tomorrow for more. Can't wait.